Moye, Piero Moye, Moye, Piero Moye, I thought Piero Giavere, Piero Moye, ah, Piero, that to Piero Soprano say that, I thought Piero Giavere, I was so, Moye, Piero Moye, what's up, was I going, Moye, Piero Gimawere, Mangoyemo, ah, Piero Gimawere, Mangoyemo, Piero, Piero, ha, Giavere, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Giavere, La Poggio Giavere, so no, do near Mobile Amado, let's play. Giamone Chipagnon, Mavaja Chipagnon, Gia, Plebonena Canyopo, Siabuchena, de Canyon, Canyon de Coda, Separatea, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Moyarwa, or Yawesa, Moye, Giblo, no Pigeon Boba, Peruno, Maboye, Piero, Piero, Moye, mon plein condition. Au pied, mon belle production. À ça, au clan, il y a un peu de mot au côté. Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, Ericona, Piero Moye, Piero Moye, ah, Chalicona, Piero Moye, ah, to Piero Moye. Ah, yeah, Piero, ah, Piero, Moye, Erico Jato Piero, Mane Bomo Jato Piero, Erico de Bomo Jato Piero, Miomo Daka, Yojalico, Yobopa, Opa, la Yede Nani, Blake Rakite, Yao, Anade Bro Ajabe Hatia. Qui a goûté on a un ne qui a doublé souvent sommes soblés soit gagnant passez blé à seigneur d'ayeta essa yedi bo sanere et to Piero Giawe to Piero point son weke to Piero iwa mon pa kaya no e ka sene la taya mo la osiane to Piero qui a baile papa ko Piero a to Piero Moye. Piero Moye, Piero Moye, 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 Piero Moye, 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 Mo
No sound, no sound, no sound, no sound. Thank you. Let me just start all over. I want to welcome all of you again. I'm sorry about the not having the sound and not looking. I'm sorry, folks. I apologize. Let me just start all over. Welcome. I know you can hear me by now. I want to welcome all of you again and say thank you. Thank you for tuning to LIBERIA Public Radio. If you have to be anywhere tonight, that's okay. We will do the best we can. Safety. I will just tell God, thank you. And let me just repeat the prayer that I offered earlier. Jesus, we want to thank you very much for the opportunity to be here again tonight. Only you, God, that can call or not call. And Lord Jesus, as you know, the businesses are getting ready to open again. With this deadly disease, only you that can guide all of us. Our brothers and sisters are getting ready to go back to work because they have to feed their family. And as a result, Lord, they're going to be going back to work. But only in your hand, through your guidance, that these brothers and sisters will go to work and come back home safely. Only you. And for that, we want to thank you and say thank you. Continue to bless all of us. Bless our nation. Bless the host nation for us, and bless the leadership of our country. Give them wisdom so they'll find reason to make sure that what is happening in Liberia it should be in our interest. And this evening, God, I want to thank you and say in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's start the program, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. I know I played some music here, but apparently it didn't even go down well anyway. So let's try. That's that one I want to play. All right, let's go ahead, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again that tuning in. Thank you. As you can see, there is all about corruption, but I'm going to take a different tack here tonight. So let's go ahead. Let's start our program as usual. We're going to now bring up the leadership of the Liberia people, someone who was duly elected, Dr. Weir, that is, duly elected President of the Republic of Liberia. I just put his knee up and it's gone, disappeared. Well, you know who he is. So let's go ahead. I want to thank all of you again for tuning in. That's Dr. Weir, the President of the Republic of Liberia, duly elected, 61.5%. Now, I'm going to show you another video when Dr. Weir was running for the office, campaigning. He went up in a countryside. But have you been hearing people say, oh, the white witch, she's not? No, she was with him foot to foot, going up in the interior. Especially the video that I'm going to be showing you. She's the lady in front. And another lady trying to guide her. And the guy was holding her hand so she doesn't slip in the mud in the forest. One of the major highways in Liberia, when it rained, they cut out. And this is where Dr. Weir decided to take the first lady campaigning. And if you live in that area and you see the first lady walking mud all over her, nobody putting her on her bike, nobody putting her in a hammock, and you yourself with your own colo eyeball, you saw the first lady and the president, now president, walking to campaign for vote, going through the same hard time you went through. What do you think your vote gonna go? Simple. But anyway, I'm not here to run campaign. Let's go ahead and show this video. The first, you see the first lady will be the guy who had the white shirt, white t-shirt, will be holding the first lady hand, and there's another lady behind the first lady trying to guide her movement. So because she fall down. That embarrassment for us. Just we had a woman fall down. What kind of business that we got going to shoot? Because back when your wife fall down, you got to shoot 3 or 4 times in the air before she can get up. Well, not in a mud like that. But as God could have it, none of that happened. Sam Sinto. So let's watch this video. Folks. Sam Sinto, LIBERIA Public Radio.
That will not hold a stake. You are not the short of you must stake. We're going to junior that before. No, I beg you. I'll go.
There you have it. The president and the first lady walking. So I'm going to take a different tack yet again tonight. This coming Friday, I'm going to start the trial of formula, which the documents that I have here, I'm going to try my best to bring those subject matter up so we all can participate in it. It's going to be in a series, set of series that I'm going to be putting up. But tonight, I'm going to be talking about corruption. Not necessarily Liberia or the people in Liberia, but corruption in general. And then how does it affect us as Liberians? I'm going to take that tack tonight. I want you to pay attention to some of the things that I'm going to be talking about. Some of them might sound like a very radical talk, but we will do our best. Sam Sinto, Liberian Public. Let's go ahead and start the program. Walk on. This is it. Okay, this is Mama Africa still crying for her kids. But let me start the program. This is this one line that I really enjoy. This is from Toba, the late president of the Republic of Liberia, who were dethroned. Okay, but this was a speech that he gave back in 1974. January 23, 1974, which was the third annual message delivered by the president to the legislatures of the Republic of Liberia. And so there's a lot of things. And the reason why I'm putting us all the way back, I want us to have some context of this corruption business. In fact, some of the things that I've been reading today, they say corruption has always been with us. But they started paying serious attention to the corruption and the effect on people since 1980, to be specific, they say, according to what I've been reading. But anyway, let's go back to 1974, and let me read something to you here. Republic of Liberia back in the 70s and things like that, the population of the country was like maybe 1.5, 1.2 to 1.5 the most, million that is. Okay, 43,000 square, the size of Liberia. They had, at the time, they had 9 counties, okay? So it was not like, it was a big country with a lot of people, and so it wasn't like that. However, within that population, maybe 2-3% of the Liberian population were the elite that were truly enjoying and that were truly being supported by the majority. But let me read what Toba told us here, folks. Samson told Liberian Public. He says here, we shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. I'll continue to read that. I want people to understand it. Why would Toba say less fortunate majority in the Republic of Liberia, making reference to Liberians. If these people, if the majority are less fortunate, then who was the fortunate? The fortunate has to be minority. And Tobo recognized that. And so he decided to put it in that speech. Okay? I just want you to pay attention to that. So I'm going to corruption. It wasn't just Tobo alone. They've been going on for a very long time. Okay? If you have a country, a population of 1.2 to 1.5, and you say majority of them was less fortunate, what do you mean? How did it come about? When Liberia gained its independence, they didn't say less fortunate, the independence is not for them. The independence, as far as the international community was concerned, it was for all those the citizens that fall within the boundary of Liberia were all people that gained the independence with the Republic of Liberia as a citizen. But these brothers and sisters decided, okay, they were independent, but the independence just for few. The rest of them, they're not independent. In-house, they're not independent. We will treat them any way we like and do anything we want to do from the national resources that we're going to get without supporting those, although the natural resources are supposed to be for all of us, but only those that are in power would benefit from the natural resources. And this thing went on and on and on and on until 1980. So before that, Tobo came and made a statement recognizing that. So let me go on before I go on to the corruption and what have you. Let's look at Tobo back in 1974, the speech he gave. The reporting system of collecting revenue by Liberians for Liberia. Let's see what they say about that. And this is the financial reporting system back in the days. It says that in reporting the financial transaction of each year, the lack of administrative and procedures coordination between the major expenditure section of the ministry and the revenue service were of serious concern as far back as 1971. So they recognized that these little revenue area, like the custom area up in the interior, they collected money, but the money reporting system were not jiving with the kinds of fair receipt they were giving to those who were supposed to be paying certain amount of money. So the money collected by the revenue agencies themselves does not jive with the fair receipt that is being reported at the finance ministry. So Tobo felt that this was something that needed to be dealt with because the money is not coming in. Corruption. Okay. So it went this okay. Realizing the importance of coordination to accurate reporting, the Minister of Finance reports that this situation has received and continue to receive the detailed attention it deserves. Because the agency, the finance minister said, okay, wait a minute. Even though we have natural resources and things like that, but people are paying taxes up in the countryside. The money they're paying the taxes to those who are supposed to collect, the reporting system does not match with the flag receipt that we have here. Because every time you pay, they give you flag receipt, and no receipt, they got numbers. So when you come back with your receipt book, you give it up, but the money you're reporting does not match the receipt book. It wasn't going down well with them. Now, what was happening? You know what was happening. That's no stranger. We're not strangers. What was happening was those people were collecting the money, but then they will pocket some of it and say, "Oh, people didn't pay you." Okay, but what happened to the receipt? You already issued receipt to people. So where's the money? And it became a very serious problem. Okay. But then the finance minister decided, okay, we're going to do something about it back in 1970-71. Okay. Procedures changes have been introduced to improve the efficiency. Accounting functions have been redesigned. introducing constant cut-off procedures and vouchers, recalling control, which now make it possible to reconcile the three functions area on a monthly basis. So that means you bring your money, we count the money, we count the receipt, we say John Brown collected X amount of dollar, match the receipt, check, and you're out. So when finance administrators started putting pressure on the collectors agency, they also started doing their best to bring the money in. But here's the funny thing. As the money comes into the revenue section in Monrovia, nothing was going back to these counties. Nothing. Because why do I say that? I don't know much that. I have no clue at that time. But those of us that are from the countryside, I told you here before and I'll tell you again. The people collect house taxes, $10. Okay, let's just take Toll Town, my town. When I was growing up, how many houses at that time? Most likely 200-300 houses, or even more, maybe 300-400 houses. Okay, so each of them paying $10. Okay, so that go from town to town before they go from a quarter. They go first. They collect the money in a quarter. Okay, now in total we have Toll Quarter, we have Sandy, we have Nyayo. I'm just mixing it up. I don't remember any of them. But anyway, they have the different quarter. So the quarter chief collect the money and turn it over to the town chief. The town chief collect the money, count all the quarter, count all the houses, and the way they use, I saw it myself, the way they used to do that, they take a bunch of rocks, and each of the rocks represent a house. So in a quarter, like in Toll Quarter, they say, okay, well, how many houses in Toll Quarter? Maybe 30 houses, 40 houses, okay. They put the 40 rocks aside. Brown Toll, did he pay? Yeah, okay, yeah, rock one side. And they put the rocks aside. And the rocks have to match the dollar amount they have. And now once that old man K was questioned in collecting money because he was a town chief. And they would take the money, take it to Zlet Town. Now, interestingly, the district commissioner in Zlet Town was American descendant. So he was stationed. You see how these people were doing those days? They didn't trust the Aborigine to sit as a district commissioner to collect money. So what they did, they take the Congo people. And folks, I'm not saying this here in terms of Congo country here tonight, please. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just giving you a little historical context here. Okay? So, because they have no trust in the Aborigines or the country people, they decided to put the district commissioner, okay, in Zlatan. He was American Liberian. So the guy sit there and collect the money. They take the money, he takes the money, report the money in Zwadro, the county superintendent. So they go from all these districts, okay, Webo district, Chien district, Bason district, you know, those districts, they go, they collect all the money. I think they used to have Niabo district, I believe, at that time. So I'm not too sure. But anyway, they collect the money. Now, the process from there to Monrovia, I have no clue. I don't know how they transport the money, okay? But the money usually ended up in Monrovia. Now, usually when you do these kinds of stuff, you expect that the government of the Republic of Liberia will say, okay, we're collecting taxes. Therefore, those who pay taxes, even if we don't give them all back, at least let's give them something for them to know that they're paying money and their money is paying dividend. In Bason District, like I told you the last time, because I can only speak about Bason District, we have clan. Okay, the clan that I remember now that I'm older now, we have Bason, we have a BI clan, we have Classen clan, I believe we have a Nizoni clan, and most likely another two other clans that I don't remember. Out of that, 5 or so clan, and now in BI clan now, we have Toll Town, we have Blown Town, we have Biaya Joson, we have Biaya Tawe, we have Gia, we have Seniway, we have Dweji Town, okay, and I believe we have Tian Town. I'm not too sure Tian Town falls within Biaya Clan, okay. 7 towns, and those towns were big. And now that they're all clustered together, between Toll Town and Seniway, you're talking about driving. You're talking about maybe 20, 30-minute driving. Walking is a distance. But kids used to walk from Seniway to come to Toll Town for elementary school. We got kids coming from all the way from Dweji Town, sometimes come to Toll Town for school. We got kids coming from Biaya Joson, which is the border town, another 20, 30 minutes away driving, walking to come to Toll Town for elementary school. So people that the Toll Town Elementary School was serving, the town that I know was serving Biaya Joson, Biaya Tawe, Mamlo, Mamlo, Seniway, Gia, Biaya Tawe. So about 6 or 7 towns, big town, Blown Town too, in fact. And that's another town that in Pekin. I don't even count of other places. So you're talking about almost 10, 11 towns, big towns. That elementary, and some of the places, they're about miles away. But you have these kids coming walking in the morning. Some of them, I don't want to call names. I know some of them watching right now, they know. Some of them used to get up 2:30 in the morning just so that I would make 8 o'clock class in Toll Town. Now, think about it. 7, 8 years old. How long can you go like that before you can say, today I'm tired, I don't want to go. You're tired, your legs hurting. And besides that, let me tell you other stuff. Some of us were participating in people like me, Samson too. And when I went home the last time, I apologized to in the entire Boston district or BI Chiefdom, entire BI Chiefdom spirit. I apologized to them at the school building because my behavior was rough. I used to fight. And sometimes you get in a fight with these young kids, sometimes their uniform will be torn out. Then the mom and dad say, I can't buy another uniform, just stay home. I'm still feeling bad. Okay? But the main thing here is not about my attitude. That's fighting part of that one that small children can do that. Everybody will do that kind of thing. Okay? But the point here is, why was it that the Ministry of Education could not come out and find out the radius of the area to say, okay, within 25 miles radius, let's put one elementary school here. So that these kids cannot come from far off. You know why? Because they know the importance of education. The elite, the Liberian elite, the minority elite knew the importance of education. They deprive us. Corruption. Corruption is the process you use to deprive somebody from getting what they were supposed to get. Corruption. So most of these places, if you're strong, and don't get me wrong, there are some kids that come from far off. They say, I don't care. Something can beat me, say, I don't care. I'm going to school. And these kids will be out of elementary school, and some of them very smart. From there to go to Zvedru. And then they will come to Monrovia. Can you imagine if the educational system was opened up to everybody? Whereas in Monrovia, where the minority elite lives, if you count the amount of high school in Monrovia, let me try and see how many high school I can count. I'm not going to count Tupman High, because Tupman High is reserved for us. No, I can't take anybody. But let's look. I think, but I forgot most of the high school now. Anyway, but I'll try my best. What's about CWA? CWA, is that a high school? I don't know. But I know CWA. Okay, MC. Okay, Shadow Tower. Wilson High, what's the other one? Well Helston, the other one way up when you go into Ducal area, the Cateria, and they have all the high school in Monrovia. So the kids, they can decide where they want to go. And when they're going to school, they don't even walk. The minority elite will put their kids in the car. The car most likely that my parent tax pay for. They will put their kids in the car and take them to school. Because why? They know the importance of education. But they decided that they're going to deprive us, the majority, the less fortunate majority, deprive them of getting the solid education. Corruption. It didn't just start today. Corruption has been with us for a very long time. Corruption affects the nation because of those corrupt behavior in the past. Was suffering the dividend of that behavior today. Whatever comes out of that corrupt behavior is still with us in Liberia and is suffering us. These people were so narrow-minded. They don't look far. They only look ahead for themselves. Corruption. It's nothing to say, just started with Liberia today and blah, blah, what have you. It's been with us for a very long time. Okay, so let's go on. The issue of corruption and Mama Liberia is a big one. The fact that many Liberians were deprived, as far as I'm concerned, of their dual educational process, will continue to suffer. Will continue to suffer. I believe that these brothers and sisters, if they were to open the educational system up, yeah, I'm going to speculate, but most likely we might not have had 1980 cool. And second step, we might not have the Civil War. So you see where I'm going? So let's go on. Corruption. It is not just Liberian making. Corruption is international as well. Corruption. People, the international community will pretend to say they want to help, but without studying our culture and try to help us based on our culture. They try to help us and then they say, well, if you want our help, you have to implement certain way of the way we live. In other words, the way they live, their culture. They impose that on us. Watch this. Samson told LeBron Padre, folks. I am on a strong belief that IMF, their programs is set for countries like Liberia, encourages corruption. They're bad. They're bad. Corruption hurts country a lot. Number one. And before I go to IMF, let me do this. Let me take this one out. Let me go back to Mama Liberia because what I'm about ready to say is very important. Back to Mama Liberia. One of the things that was happening and that continued to carry on the corrupt behavior, and even up to this time, corruption is going to be difficult to get out of. Number one, listen to this. In order for you to be successful in the corrupt practices that is going on, my opinion, the government and those that are in power, think about it. Open your mind a little bit and hear me out. Hear me out. The government and those who are in power, how do they come up with a system that will allow them to carry on corruption and have that corrupt behavior percolate into the fabric of a society. Number one, what do? They establish regulations. In numbers of regulation of everything. Oh, you can't do that. The law say you can't do this. Oh, the law say you can't do this. And here's the interesting thing. Those that are in power, they are now charged to implement these laws. So what happened? You have to deal with them. And in the process of dealing with these people, not every one of those people that's supposed to implement the regulations and make sure the regulation help the nation, not everyone are sincere. So they say, well, this thing here gonna cost it, but if you give me that, I'll give it to you. So they start negotiating with their power, the power they have. The power they have. They suppress people. And if you find any, not just Liberia, any country that is corrupt, the first place you need to check, do they have fresh freedom? No. No. Because fresh freedom, because people, now don't get me wrong now all press are all even. No. But if the press is free, the press will write like what Front Page Africa does all the time. Will write. And people don't like their need to be exposed and be connected to corrupt behavior. And if you have a press freedom, they continue to write about these things. People will take yield and say, even the government not prosecuting by my knee out there, and whenever that I go out, people look at me, we're all human beings. But the first thing these people do, first they establish the regulations. And then when they establish a regulation, knowing fully well that they're going to implement those rules that the regulation requires, they also shut the press down. So you don't see corruption. It's not just taking money and running away. There's so many things that involve. Okay? Corruption, the greatest obstacle to development. And they're not going to say, well, you can't develop here. No, that's not how they do it. They're not going to say, you can't build here. Oh, we got the money to build. No. But the regulation, just one part of it. Another thing they do, especially in the case of Liberia, folks, Liberia does not depend wholly on taxation. No. Liberia revenue, most of it, comes out of natural resources. The gold, diamond, timber, and those things when they are sold, you and I have no control. It comes directly to the government, those that are in power. And the fact that they don't depend solely on the taxation, taxing the people, they care less about you. They only come to you. I'm not making fun. It's serious business. They only come to you during the election by giving you rice, giving you money, and what have you. But the mere fact that they don't depend on your money to operate the government, you got nothing to gain. Only during election. And this is why most of these countries will continue to insist no institution building, will build individual. Because the individual, the resources that are coming in, these are not something that are quantifiable. You say, okay, the other iron ore come from Grand, it come from Grand, so Trump will get it. No, it's not like that. Iron ore, rubber, timber, it's okay, how much we're getting? The government collect the money. And the government decide what they're going to do with the money. Only the few that are in power will continue to decide. So you have to have somebody who has a goodwill towards the people in order for them to truly enjoy the natural resources. Another interesting thing with what corruption would do for you and what it has done for Liberia, continue to do for Liberia. The few taxes that are supposed to be collected from the people don't trust the government. And most of the time, they don't pay taxes. Because they feel within themselves, they pay the taxes, and the government is not implementing things that they're supposed to do. You pay your taxes, the next time you go to Morea, you get there, you see the person who and you were running down the street, 2 years later, look at the house he's building. Where's he getting from? Because he's working for the government, and he's in big position. How is he getting the money? How is he getting the money? And you sit down and say, oh, that's what you're doing here? Okay. They come to you for a tax. I don't got money right now. My business is not growing. You know how many businesses owe Liberian government in our country? But because they don't trust. Now, go back to the statement I made the other day. Democracy is a trust game. People can, the government in power, the government is bluffing. People can call the government bluff. And they're doing it almost every day in Liberia. Look at the traffic. Traffic in Liberia. You think if these people really, really serious, you think you will have traffic congestion like that in Liberia? They will find me. They know the importance of moving from one point to another without delay. But they don't care. And the fact that the Liberians themselves have no vested interest in the operation of the government. Because they feel within themselves the government is corrupt. Not just necessarily this government, folks. So please don't hold me to Dr. Weah and his people. I'm making a general statement. And therefore these people feel they don't have to respect and they don't trust the government. And most of the time they don't pay taxes. But on the other hand, the government don't fight for collection tax of collecting taxes because they know the revenue is not necessarily depend on the taxes, the natural resources. And the natural resources is the agreement between who exporting and who bringing in the money is between the government and the people. And those that are in power are the ones going to receive the money. Based on their goodwill, they will decide to do something for the country. And if you elect people who have no interest in sharing the wealth, you're done. So because of that, corruption is very dangerous. And for us as Liberians, until we can recognize these things that I'm saying, you got a lot of economy. I'm not an economist. I'm just a common ABCD engineer. Don't know anything. But if you pay attention of what is happening in our country, you will find out quickly. It doesn't matter you bring Joseph Jenkins Robert by. It doesn't matter you put Dr. Weah in there. It doesn't matter you put my pure Peking Costa. You put him back in our government to be president tomorrow. Same thing. Nothing going to change. Costa alone can't change nothing. And in fact, the only thing Costa was saying is, I'm not going to throw up my hand. You beat up my man. Oh, they think we're killing the people. Hey, man, my man, that's what we're here for. Liberia is cooked with corrupt putney. And there's nothing we're going to do out of it to get out of it right now. Let me throw you another curveball here this afternoon. Sam Sinto, Liberian Public Radio. So just quite recently, you heard the political opposition, they said they're going to get together. They got money, 5 cents they don't have. They got money? They got money? No. And guess what? I hate to bust your bubble, my brothers and sisters. Those that have money in Liberia, most of them did not get their money. You know what I'm talking about. But these political parties, they would need money to support the political campaign. So somebody will say, I can help you, but I need something when you win. There will have to be an interest. And this is the interest Dr. Weah is serving right now, paying people off. All of those people that you see, the big, oh, this one is advisor, this one. Why something can't be advisor? Are they the only educated person? Emmanuel Shell, how many people United have asked? How many presidents that United have had? You mean he the only president that's smart in our country? No, but he invested. He put money into the campaign. It's the same thing. The political party position that they don't have money, they will have to come together and find people to support their effort. In the interest of supporting those efforts, these people are also carving their own interests, so in case the political party becomes successful tomorrow, they will get back their money. Corruption. It's not easy to get out. You can cry all you want. Oh, the other one corrupt. The other person we did. If they don't stop the corruption, we're not going nowhere. 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 Corruption is not something that is decent for a country. It is difficult to control. I give you an example. So somebody, the police officer, standing in the street during traffic, because they don't have that many traffic lights in Liberia. So, and I saw that myself when I was home, when I went home. On Tottenham Boulevard, right before you get to SKD Boulevard, they have 4 lanes. One coming from Monrovia, going to Kakata, the other one coming from Kakata, going to Monrovia. But before you get to SKD Boulevard, which is supposed to be a 4-lane highway, 4-lane intersection, they have police there. But what they were doing in the money, they wrote the group that is coming from Monrovia going to Kakata, they force them, the traffic force, that's not the rule. The traffic forced them to 1 lane. So the people that go into Monrovia, because they think they're too many, so they take 3 lanes, illegally taking 3 lanes. They cross the yellow line. And as they get closer to the police, they now want to come back to have 2 lines now, to have 2 lanes. So you see what happening? From a bottle bag like it, then they're going back to bottleneck. What they don't realize is you cutting people out, the people over there, they're not going anywhere. Traffic jam. Traffic jam. Corruption. So when they get to the police, man, I saw you way back there. Why you cutting people? Hey, man, you're fasting, man. Let me go through. I'm getting late. He goes. And what they were doing in Monrovia, corruption is bad. It's deadly. It's dangerous for us. What these people were doing in Monrovia, they have this syringe. They put the syringe on their car. And when they come in here, one, they have no business. They are not government official. Nothing. They just put it on to give people way. I mean, so they can get way to go to where they want to go. Illegally. Another dangerous thing they do is when they see the president or some of the emergency vehicle goes on with the syringe on, they just follow. Illegal. No interest. They have no vital interest. They have no investment in the country. So they don't care. They don't care. One of the interesting things for me as an engineer that I'm enjoying this few days, this lockdown, and then let me just make this point here quickly. Eugene Falcon, as far as I'm concerned, I don't like his behavior, I don't like his intake and everything, but I think he's becoming one of the most hard worker minister in this government, period. Minister Falcon and Kwame Opa-Wees, they are becoming the most hard worker in this government, period. Minister and director. These people work hard. I don't agree with some of the conversation they're having, but they're out there working and showing people. So I respect that and I appreciate that. However, I don't enjoy some of the things that they say. But for me, of all the ministers that serve in this government, Minister Falcon and Director Opa-Wees, they are the most hard workers. And why do I say that? First of all, I'm in the business of media and I'm in the business of social media, so I see them all the time. But the fact that they show things midnight, even if you go look on Facebook right now, most likely you'll find Eugene Falcon out in the street. So you can't tell me he's not working. Hard worker. He's working hard. Now, I'm not trying to equate with his hard working with the way he behaving. Far from it. I just want to point that out. So let's get back to corruption. So as an engineer, one of the things that I enjoy with this lockdown is the fact that they're showing me a lot of places, a lot of roads, how the roads were built. If you look at the driving, sometimes the drives on area is empty, but then I pay attention to the side connection, the side street, the street itself, the asphalt, the sidewalk, and what have you. The gutter and things like that. I pay attention to those things, and I can see that they need more work. People were not paying attention to these things as they were doing the construction. Corruption. The project comes out. $200,000 project. But they call the contractor. In order for you to get a $200,000 contract, we'll get you 150. The other 150 we'll take it for ourselves. But on the book, it's $200,000 contract. The contractor gave you $50,000, or $200 or $100,000, whatever he gave you. But here's the thing: the people that are taking the kickback on these contracts don't know. The contracting business and construction of roadways based on material. You price the whole thing based on the material, the quality of the material. And that's how you price the entire job. So if you take, instead of 250,000, you give the man 150,000, you're taking 100,000, whatever, the man will give you the product that worth 150,000. Less material, cheap material, unsafe road, and then you have from A to Y. Corruption. It's dangerous. So now that I've talked about how corruption hurt us in our country, let's go a little bit into international aspect of corruption. I am under the impression, from what I've been reading all day, IMF and their programs the bigger increase in corruption in most of the poor countries. They come out. First of all, the country you have, if you need help financially, okay, the reason for requesting help from IMF or some of the monetary fund and things, based on different, you can ask for help based on disaster, natural disaster. You can ask for help based on the oil prices going up, and your country cannot afford it, or you can ask for help. Rubber that we always import now, the rubber is not making any money, so there's nothing coming in. Butter shop for, we need help. Iron ore, we need help. So you can ask for help. So IMF would then send people to the country. Let's say, okay, I'll say Liberia. All my example here is on Liberia. So IMF sent people in Liberia to investigate and to ascertain the truth of what it is that they want. So these people come to Liberia, and then Liberian government also going to have to designate people that will be working with IMF representatives, so they can make sure that nobody's saying something that is not true. So that part is good. They come and find out. So when IMF, after finding out and documents all of this stuff, they go and make the report. And those who supposed to approve the loan, they have demand. They have demand. Okay? And let me see, there's something I got up here earlier. Okay. They have demand. And the demand that they come out with is ridiculous sometimes. Okay? But you have to be smart. But if your hand is in the leopard mouth, what are you going to do? You can't. You have to have these kinds of different agreements and demand and things like that. But one of the things that I want to point out here, okay, the mention of condition they put on you, quantitative and structure. Those are the two things that IMF usually put in front of each government. Okay. So when they do that, they set a condition to the government. Now, the condition most of the time IMF was set, it's not condition, I said it earlier, it is not condition that is part of our culture. They will come out and say, okay, our condition is you need to, within certain amount of time, we want to see the corruption level to drop to certain percentage or whatever, without taking into consideration how this corrupt the corrupt behavior is within our fiber. It's in us. They're not considering that. They give the money. One of the things they don't put, one of the conditions is in the paper here, they will not put that up to say how you manage it. They give it to you. They know that your country is having issue. All they want you to do is setting conditions. It's not like how you spend the money, where the money ended up, because it's a loan. So they're not going to come and give you a money and say, okay, you do this, we'll just do this and that's it. They're not going to tell you if your minister is Samuel Twell or Samson Toh. They don't care. They certify the condition. Okay, they give you the money. Now, the country that's supposed to implement the process, the condition that is set. I told you before, in case of Liberia, they're not depending on mini taxation from the people. They depend on handout, loan, and the natural resources, sales, and money coming in. So that money they borrow or the money the IMF gave them, most of the time, they tell them, this is what we're doing. We're doing this. Who are you to say no? You can't do this, you can't do that. And this is where the freedom of press helps Liberians' interest. And I'm just going to call his name. People like Henry Costa. I don't agree with most of his way he carried on his stuff and things, but the message is what I enjoy. Because there are people within the government that don't like some of these things either, but they can't talk. So they pass the information on to people like Costa. And Costa will blab it up. And I say to the government, increase that opportunity with Costa to help you to understand who is cutting your legs. Our people don't understand that, and they make people like Costa or the Front Page Africa make them into enemy of the state. Far from it. Far from it. The fact that you don't want people to report on these things, you give these people that are supposed to be truthful with you and tell you where the money is going, where the money is coming from, because nobody reporting on it, they do whatever they want to do. And what if the head of the government itself is involved? How do you now change that? Corruption. If we, the Liberians ourselves, cannot do anything, IMF come and set their condition, and say, okay, these are our conditions. The government's anxious to get the money. So, oh yeah, we'll meet the condition. Doesn't matter whether the condition going to hurt them or not. Okay, they don't care. They go on. Corruption is one of the greatest obstacles to economic development in any country. Okay. There's no two-way street about it. Okay. So if you have a corrupt behavior in your officials, you're done. Okay. In fact, this is what they say at the Global Economic Forum, estimated that the corruption cost the public coffer US $2.6 trillion a year. So it's not just Liberia. But you must have people that will want to come and help their own people. Somebody who will think about Liberians and not about themselves. That's the only way we're going to get out. And I keep saying this. It might not be in our lifetime, but there will be a group of Liberians. Group of Liberians that will put Liberia ahead of themselves. All it takes is just one or two examples. And this is where I thought Madam Ellen Sirleaf coming in, having had all of this opportunity of fighting with all these government, bringing out the dirty deals of all these government, I thought she coming in was going to put up, even if she's not successful, but we're going to give her a structure that was going to help the next administration. But nothing. Nothing. She had nothing to fight for corruption or anything. Let me show you something. I'm going to play this video here. This video I played last time, I'm going to continue to play. This is about Singapore, where this guy is telling you, he's going to tell us that what he think happened to Singapore for Singapore to be almost corruption free, almost. Let's play that video. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio.
And I would give every student who came to the Lee Kuan Yew school the same lecture. I said, I'm going to share with you the secret of Singapore's success free of charge. And I to tell the students that if you implement this secret formula, your country will succeed. And I captured the secret formula with the acronym in English, MPH. The M stands for meritocracy. Meritocracy means that you select the best people to run the country. And what brings many countries down, especially in the third world, is that when it comes to selecting the finance minister or the economics minister, they will give their jobs to their brothers, their cousins, their uncles, their relatives, and not to the best people. And Singapore did the exact opposite. In Singapore, their jobs were given to the best people. And in the case of the Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, when he went to study in Cambridge University, he was the top student in the class, if not in the university. In fact, his professors were so impressed, they said, you should become a mathematician because you'll become a world-class mathematician. Then he went to study in another great university, the Harvard Kennedy School. And in that university, he's one of the few students to get an article published in a Tier 1 economics journal. Very few students get articles published in a Tier 1 economics journal. So he's incredibly brilliant. And so if the best man of the job is Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's son, then he should be selected. Not on the basis of the fact that he's a relative, but on the basis that he's the best person for the job. So meritocracy is the first pillar of Singapore's secret formula. The second pillar is P, and P stands for pragmatism. Pragmatism is an English word, and it's an English concept. But the best...
Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio, there you have it. Corruption is not something that you can just say, that in Liberia. Far from it. But you must understand some of the things that cause problem with corruption. For example, lack of check and balance on democratic governing hurts a lot. Just I'll give you an example. Quite recent, and folks, I don't care. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not putting corrupt behavior or everything on one particular government in Liberia. So if you're going to say, you're talking Dr. Weah, it's up to you. How you define it is up to you. Okay. But quite recently, Dr. Weah submitted, according to the article, he resubmitted his budget because things were hard. And according to the story, he submitted one day, the next day it was approved. You mean the people ain't got eyeball to even look at something? To say, okay, which one, what did you change? Bring the budget director, let him testify before you guys. What are some of the legislation, what is your interest? Who do you care for? Are you serving for yourself or are you serving the people? And if you're serving the people, the people just give you the budget without you even looking at line item that perhaps it's not benefiting your people, you don't care. You just approve and send it to Senate. Then what is this? Because of that lack of check and balances, Corruption. It's killing us. Killing us. And there's nothing you can do unless we all decide, you know what? Enough is enough. And not violent. Far from it. Far from it. But they just take one or two. Can you imagine? Even though I don't like some of the ethics and stuff like that, like Columbine and stuff like that. But if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Columbine, 10 Columbine's in our representative, I think people will think twice before they start doing something else. So we Liberian, we ourselves, we the Liberian people, we ourselves have to get involved. Right now, you go on social media, what are they fighting about? Because the collaboration, political parties say they're going to get together. Oh, what ride you take? Who you going with? Instead of look, what make them think that even, I'm going to there again, even if you bring Henry Costa and say you're the president today, the corruption will be more. Because you haven't worked the online issues. You bring Costa and put in, say you're the president of the local Liberia. Corruption is not going to change anything. Because we refuse to build institutions. We refuse to build institutions. Dr. Weah controls the legislatures. Dr. Weah controls the judiciary. The lawmaker, the judges, the judiciary, Dr. Weah control them. But he's not the first, and he's not going to be the last. This is how Liberia society have always been operating. So I'm saying if people like IMF going to come and give money, they need to understand these things. Okay, you want a certain amount of money. What you do with it, that's fine. But is there any institution that perhaps will be able to check to make sure these things are not right? Why, if IMF give Liberian government money, and I feel Liberian government utilize the money not to the interest of the Liberian people, can I take the government to court? Is there any avenue for me as a private citizen to take the government, to hire a private lawyer to take the government to court? Can we do that? Those are the things we need to put in place. Institution. Because once the institution is built, and people who are guilty in the eyes of the law are punished according to the law, then it's no longer something to business. It's the law. It's the law. And the law will be respected. But we don't do that. We don't do that, folks. Samson told Liberian Public Radio. I'm going to go ahead and open the line because come Friday, we're going to start Dr. Henry Famler senior trial. And before I open the line, let me just share with you here very shortly. Now, the trial of Dr. Famler, that's not part of my subject matter here tonight, but we'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. In 1968, Tubman was inaugurated for the 6th consecutive 4-year term. Okay, but during the ceremony, the people that the foreign services, diplomats of Liberia, ambassador, everybody that worked for the State Department, they decided to honor the president. So in that process, okay, January 24th, 1968, during the night of the celebration, Tubman got up to make a statement. Okay, and this is what he said, and this is the outline of the story, folks. It's going to be interesting. I want you guys to follow me. It's going to be interesting. Okay, so speaking at the function, the president praised Liberia's ambassadors, saying that with one exception. They had rendered great service to their country. The exception, noted President Tubman, was an ambassador who had interfered in the domestic affair of the nation to which he was accredited, and who had even employed a member of that country's opposition party in the Liberian embassy. Declaring this to be a violation of the Foreign Service Code, the president hinted that the ambassador whose name he did not review will soon be dismissed for misconduct. Adding, any ambassador who participated in the practice of the nation to which he is designated is not fit to represent Liberia. Okay, that was a statement the president made, and that's what started the whole thing. And folks, there are names here. I'm just warning all of us in advance. There are names here that are part of the history, and the names are going to be called out, not necessarily trying to shift blame or anything, but based on history. So I hope we will have that clear understanding when we're ready to discuss it come Friday. Samson to Liberian Public Radio. Let me go ahead and open the line. And those of you, if you have question or comment, please let me know. I've been on the corruption issue now for more than a week, and I think it's time that I pivot and go to something else. Okay? Oh, wait a minute. The mic. Oh, shoot. Okay, Mike, if you're listening, Samson Tor, I know it's late over there. I'm sorry. I was supposed to get Mike on here earlier. Oh, okay, Mike. Sorry, buddy. Okay, let me go ahead and put the number up. Samson Tor, Liberian Public Radio. And let's see. I can't see. Okay. Folks, my glasses issue is a serious one. Samson to Liberian Public, that's the number. Give me a call.
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon blue way up, Ruby and the okay way. Mon blue way get, oh the other okay way. One day roll by it, I don't want to get this to him. Come on, I'm out of way I'm more. That's why it is on my own. Ruby, I want them go. Say it again, not to cry, you say it again. Say it again, I know. Oh, so say no, say it again. Let us see what we're not and we will not hear your way. Oh, they will walk and I'll be in your mouth. I'll get you a gal. Get you a idea. I will get you. Oh, yeah. Don't allow le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon blue way up, Ruby and the okay way. Mon blue way get, oh the other okay way. One day roll by it, I don't want to get this to him.
Okay, we're still here. So one of the things, going back to the corruption issue before I close up, Mr. I don't see Emma Joyce here tonight, so that means he's not with us. Okay, we're going to be closing here very shortly. Welcome, Madam President. There are two Madam President here. Madam President Hazer, welcome. Madam President Benu. You know, Sacramento here, we always have women president. They always been our president. They always, and they're good leaders. The women, we have 3 women presidents so far, and they've been doing 3. Yeah, okay, 3. That's Benue, that's Washington, And that's, yes, three. Folks, if I'm making a mistake, but they've been a wonderful, wonderful leaders here in the Sacramento area. And they have taken athletes to the higher level. These are community leaders. Three women, intelligent, very smart, and they lead us well. So I want to welcome them. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. By the way, let's go. So according to I'll make this statement, and if Mr. George is there, can you give me a call? If not, we're gonna call it quit. And I need to prepare myself for this trial. Folks, I'm gonna be wearing a lawyer, how do you call it? Lawyer gown? Whatever name, I don't know. It's just a like lawyer gown or robe or whatever they call it. I'm gonna be wearing it. You know, when you graduating, the gown you can put on, that one I'll put on. So I'll make myself look like a lawyer, even though I'm not a lawyer. But anyway, so one of the interesting things the article pointed out in this that the IMF would do when they give him money, some of the conditions they set, they want the government to privatize most of the government entity. And without realizing that the government is not quite prepared to give the entity up to be for private use and things like that. The private people themselves don't even have the money to support those entities if they turn it over to them. So the first thing is they come back to the government going to give them money that they're not able to pay back. So as a result, they start selling things that is supposed to help the government start selling it cheap or selling it to foreigners. And before you look, the foreigner own the private entity that's supposed to help the government to provide jobs. So those are kinds of stuff the IMF would do for us and hurt us. So give me a call here, 916-533-2048. If not, we're going to go now and say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening. So let me see something else I want to read here. Let me, in fact, what time is it? Okay, I got 10 more minutes. And let me go on. So let me read this. Let me go on to formula trial now. Okay, the president's comments caused much uneasiness among the assembly, diplomats, State Department personnel. And Liberian envoy home for the inaugural. People that were there for the inauguration, the diplomats and stuff, when Tuckman made this statement, and said, but who am I would do that kind of thing? Who's doing this kind of thing? Who is this person? They didn't know who it was. But they were concerned. Okay? So it seemed inconceivable that any Liberian ambassador could have been guilty of such gross breach of diplomatic property without this fact being known, at least within the foreign service, and probably even becoming the subject of open comment in the press. And indeed, this was not long in coming. Who is that undiplomatic ambassador? Asked the Liberian Age. That was used to be one of the press businessmen or business in Liberia at that time. Liberian Age was press. How they call it? The right newspaper. Liberian Age at the time. One of the country's three major newspapers. Monroe was alive with rumors. They don't know who it was. The answer was so forthcoming. The alleged culprit was Henry Formula. Liberian ambassador, this is what he was doing at the time when they accused him. Liberian ambassador to Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Mr. Formula is a lawyer, a descendant of a warrior chief of the Vai tribe. It's going to be interesting. Because one of the things, if you're from Liberia, you know the Vai tribe. The Vai people, they're highly educated, and they know how to express themselves. They're not scared, and so they bring it on. So one of the tribes, okay, they coined the Vai a warrior, descendant of a warrior chief of the Vai tribe, okay, principal tribe, and among these Aborigines who have, now here's the interesting thing I want you to pay attention to. I'm going to read this again come Friday. Who have succeeded in reaching high public office in the societies whose political and economic life is largely dominated by the American Liberians. The descendants of American slaves who were repatriated to Africa in the early part of the 19th century. Of Liberia population of 1,900,000, the American Liberians were only 30,000 at the time. Liberia had 1,090,000 in population at the time. 30,000 were American Liberians, but they were in control of everything. Everything, the economic lifeline of Liberia was in their hand. Mr. Famila, who had returned to Monrovia for the inauguration, was arrested at his home on February 13 and charged with sedition. At the press conference on the same day, President Tubman stated that Mr. Famila had been arrested not only because of his misconduct in Kenya, but for acts committed in Liberia as well. According to him, Mr. Famila had been carrying on acts of sedition which amount to treason. Fact against Famila hair-raising, read the headline in the Liberian Age, one of the newspaper again. Okay. Friday, I'm going to go on to the indictment. So I encourage those of you, if you want to follow this thing, please go ahead and do research. Go on YouTube, I mean not YouTube, but Google, and say the trial of Henry Famila. It will come up. They will give you the entire volume. What is it? Part 1, part 2, part 3, everything together. Okay? So Friday, I'm going to read this thing again, and then we're going to start in earnest. It's a very, very interesting reading. The grand jury of Moserato County indicted Ambassador Famila on March 7. The 12-count document charged in sum that the defendant between the 19th date of January 1968 and the 25th date of January 1967, 1 year, and on several other days, the exact date being unknown to the grand jury, while in the employment of the government of Liberia, serving in the capacity of ambassador exonerate and envoy promptly accredited to Kenya and other East African state and government in willful discharge of his alliance and fiduciarity to his government, being the public of Liberia, did treacherously plan, conspire, contrive, and combine with other disloyal persons, both Liberians and foreigners, with the intent to unlawfully, where am I? Okay. Unlawfully and forcibly receive power and control over the government of Liberia. Well, this is more than somebody who trying to take a coup. Okay, in so doing, to overthrow this constituted government and authority, the accused was alleged, moreover, to be the leader and promoter of an underground movement whose avoid him was to overthrow the government. All right, folks, Sam Sindo, Liberian Public Radio. I'm going to say good night to all of you. Once again, the idea here that we've been on here tonight, corruption is not something that just happened overnight. It's been with us for a very long time. So we just bring these things out as a way of trying to let you know that as Liberian, if we don't get hold of these things, we're not moving anywhere, nowhere. Because any government that comes to power, they're not dependent on Liberian in terms of taxation. They got natural resources that they sell, the money coming in, so they don't have to come back to you. The only time they come to you and give you something is during the election. But they're not obligated to you in terms of financial viability. They're not obligated to you, not by far stretch. They don't have to come back to you. They only come to you during the election time. But if you are paying taxes, if the government operation is based on taxes, they will respect what you say, because you can tell them, say, you know what, I'm not paying taxes, and they can't function. But the fact that they care less, because you're not paying taxes. That's not your tax money they're using to operate the government. And many people. And another thing also, the taxpayer themselves, they feel that the government is not utilizing the tax that they pay to benefit them, the people. It benefits few, which is the government official themselves, according to the story. And therefore they have no respect and no trust and don't want to pay taxes. So it's two ways, folks. Oh, Emma Joyce, you're here. Okay, give me a call now. Make your comment so I can close it. Mr. Joyce, welcome. Give me a call. Let me put everything on. It's ready for you. Waiting. I've been talking about corruption. Okay. I don't see no call, Mr. Josh. Maybe somewhere you can't call. Okay. All right, Mr. Josh. That's okay. Let's do this. But Mr. Josh, please, if you're listening, try and do the family stuff with me, and so that we can move. Because at the end of a section, I would like to get your input as well. It's going to be most likely maybe a week or so. Okay. This is part one, and then part two. The case of the prosecution. This is the interesting one. The case of the prosecution. This is where all the meat on the bone comes to play. This one here, the part one, is just the background. In fact, that's what I say, background of the trial. But part two, the prosecution lay out their trial. I mean, the case is the trial of Henry Famler, held by virtually everyone as the most. Okay. Mr. George, thank you for calling. Thank you very much. So I'm not too sure whether you were able to listen to most of the thing I was saying. Are you with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Were you able to hear what I was saying?
No, can you just recap everything quick, because I was...
Okay. Well, I was just talking about corruption, and the issue that I was making, the issue was corruption is not just with Dr. Weir and his people, but the fact that corruption is in Liberia is within us as Liberian, number one. Secondly, I'm also arguing that the Liberian themselves, the way the government is structured, the fact that the government does not depend solely on taxation, taxing people in order for them to operate. The government gets the money most of the time either by getting loan or by the natural resources from Liberia. Thereby, they don't have to come back to you right away unless it's the election time. So your tax money is not what they depend on to operate, and therefore they care less about most of your feeling. Not just Dr. Weir, every one of those people. So that's one aspect. And I also argue that IMF, their policy they put in place when they ready to give loan or whatever help a country, specifically Liberia, also help to spread the corrupt behavior in the country. That was my argument.
Oh, look, you are 100% right. Corruption in Liberia is the stomach. The fabric of Liberia is being engulfed by corruption. From the highest office to the office board. Since the founding of Liberia, the French Liberia declared herself as independent country, that have been the cancer that Liberians suffer from, corruption. So when we talk about it's not just this government, immemorial, generation after generation. And some of the things you see some of are talking is that's why some of us say Let everybody in Liberia, I personally believe, and because maybe I'm a conservative, so I believe that everybody in Liberia, everybody, men and women, should pay some form of tax to the government. So that will also give them interest in how government policies are made and how it's interpreted and how it's implied and how it affects people. But because the current nature of our leaders, they have always made our people to be lazy. In a sense that they don't cover no taxation, so the people cannot ask them, what are you doing with the resources? These are techniques that people have deployed in Liberia over the years. And we have to get away from that. Because people see in Liberia, they don't pay taxes. So anything the government do, they say, okay, man, anyway, that's it. How many times you ever heard Liberian people talk about debt, the national debt of the country? How many times you have heard politicians or concerned citizens raising issue that that's money you're borrowing? Our children or children yet unborn will have to pay the loan. You don't hear that conversation in Liberia. You don't hear it. Because the people believe government is supposed to do everything. Nobody is there to educate the people that, look, when you borrow money from the African Development Bank, this is the interest rate you pay on this money. And it also, this loan can cause your development to slow down. If you are not careful about the interest rate, you don't know the interest rate, the government just will borrow the money. That's it. They can't say, we pay this man not to get two for the loan. That's it. Nobody is asking these people. These are things that this generation, we have to continue to talk to changes of the direction of Liberia. This is where the corruption comes in. The government do not borrow the people to pay taxes, and the people don't ask the government, hey, you want to borrow 25 million now, $1 billion to pay the road. How you going to pay this loan back? What is the interest rate? Let us see the document. Nobody question the government. But Mr. Toll, if you have raised the issue, they will say, we don't like the government. That's what they will say. That the people don't want development to come. We are living in a country. We see how tax help to develop the country, how debt can cripple the country. We know. So that's why every community you live, they have city council meeting, they want to do this, people want to know where the money going to come from, how they want to be paid, what are my taxes, what are the taxes of what, they want to know all these things. But it is not doing it like that. Because why? The government always, they have created a narrative that you don't have to do anything, you do everything. So as a result, you see everything goes to the government. So what does the government do? Go to the money? They don't care. They do bad, and they do 1 or 2%, that's it. And that's why I found on even in Liberia on higher education being free. I said one time there should be some minimum contribution from those who are being awarded the education, except maybe for certain things government can say, look, if you bring agriculture, medicine, engineering, you can sign contract with the government that when you graduate, you go to this area to do some services in order to contribute that the government has the government has grantee education. So it is a 2-year service or 3-year service in this community. From there, you are free, you can go. Why the government cannot institute this kind of policy? But what they do, they offer a blanket, they say, everybody, all colleges is free. Now, you know, anything that is free, nothing is free in the world. That money got to come from somewhere. But because the government now got a free education, free tuition, nobody now will be able to question the government, where are you getting this money from? How are you going to be paid? Where are you getting the loan from? Where are you taking the other fund from to put here? Nobody asks the hard question. Because they say it's free. Then they jump into the street. And these are the problems you see that crippling Liberia today. Corruption. I was in Liberia 2017. I went to the court to serve a writ. I had to buy paper. Temporary justice. I have to buy paper. And I said, but then, where is the money? All these fees they collect, what happened to it? I thought we're supposed to have stationery that what you can't you pay, they fee to issue a rate. That's when you pay this fine to the court. I thought the money is supposed to go by the central government, and central government is supposed to buy all these stationery to put here. But you got to go, you have to pay for your sheet before the clerk can check the rate. Then you have to pay the sheriff rate to go set the rate. If you don't get the sheriff money, you will not go. You will go and connive with that person and say, oh, I didn't see the man. Go and tell the man. The mission will go and tell the judge you're not here. So that is kind of corruption in Liberia. It's not from the presidency down to the upper boy in Liberia are corrupt. Everybody now comes to corrupt one way or the other. The business people, they don't pay their full taxes. They go to the Minister of Finance. They tell the minister, hey, my man, I'm going to pay all the money. He said, nah, what are you doing? You know the other man, well, yeah, you know what we should do. 100,000, the man said, make that thing 30,000. I will give 15,000. Wait the other one. The man said, yeah, but in fact, nobody knows that, man. You wasting your time. You pay. If I pay all the money to the government, what do you get from there? So you can see how corrupt people are in Liberia. Nobody in Liberia pays the fair share of taxes in Liberia. Except maybe the big companies, but even the big companies, they still give them break. They still give them break. So you can see how corrupt is the system in Liberia. What will it take to break this corruption in Liberia? This is the biggest cancer in Liberia, the corruption. It is what slowing the progress of that country. Every leader that can, they are into it. Every leader, not one, every leader that comes to power in Liberia, they are into that corruption. And the people who are supposed to ask the question don't ask because they say, oh, well, man, I ain't paying tax, so I'm going to do everything. No, but it is the resources. It is your resources that the government is taking. And because they gave you little thing, you shut them up. The only time they will come back to you is an election time. They gave you people smaller money, and the rest of it. So you can see how corruption is damaging Liberia and has continued to damage Liberia up to this person. The question is, how can we eradicate this cancer from Liberia? That is the question. That is the question. Corruption is not just people taking money. The way we behave, the thing that we do to other people. We indoctrinate other people into corruption. We not even want to be, but the people make you to be corrupt in Liberia. They will tell you, oh, you just come here so that what you want to do, okay, you don't want to know, sit down there. You see, oh, happen. I went to that other man. I went to the boss man. Sit down there. See how people behave in Liberia? The taxes that you should pay, and you insisting that the man must pay this time. He will leave you and go to your boss and say, that other man that you know too much, find it, take this. And the boss said, okay, I was on it, he can't do anything. That's how Liberia operates. That is the kind of corruption that in Liberia. So somehow when we're talking, it's just that unfortunately that this era, because social media and other things, people are now exposed. Anybody can go on social media and say something, and you can't do nothing now. This is what happened. There's a George, we are now coming to the king of power person. We are king of power at the point now. Every child now got access to food, can go in the remote and say something. But that is not on. The idea we got to continue to speak on these things because there's corruption. So many people have lost their life in Liberia, and we cannot see any sign of people changing. And now every time they kill people, the more the people get into corruption. It's like they are not afraid. This is what is happening in Liberia. Corruption is an epidemic in Liberia. Nobody can say they are not part of it, from the office board up to the highest office. The business people, the same thing. You go to the port. They want to say, my man is supposed to pay the one, but if you get them, they'll get. Okay.
All right.
And this is it. Yeah, so I just want to close something. I saw something today, and this thing, we left that conversation because of COVID-19. Maybe, I don't know, you saw the video today on Rossi Highway. They have started the project. Maybe you see the video, maybe you can watch and see.
Yeah, so I saw the
Don't you
video
know-
where the president went to inspect the road issue.
Yeah, but from the guy who was broadcasting what I heard, Mr. Toll, this is the same thing we're coming back to. How can you get people check on Saturday and come today to start breaking their homes, and they are not even they can't even pass the check? Nobody knows. You and I were having this conversation to tell me what the value of this people's property. Now,
Yeah.
today, I heard that they gave some people check on Saturday. Today, they start breaking people's homes down and the people got nowhere to go. Then, the guy was saying, with the curtailment of movement of people, how can people go to find homes? Because people got no supposed to be in the street. Saturday they get in check. Sunday the bank of Monday they can't cash the check. Tuesday they can't cash the check. Wednesday they can't cash the check. You can't start breaking down their homes. See the trouble? And this time in the midst of an epidemic disease that you say you want to slow down the movement of people, then you go at the same time breaking the people's homes down. Where do you expect these people
Where
to
you
go?
want them to go?
You see the corruption we're talking about? These are all corrupt attitudes. Nobody knows what you pay the people. You give them check, they can't check it. Then you go, you start breaking down their homes. These are all corrupt attitudes of our people. And this is why you see, it's not corruption, it's not just that money people take it. The way you treat other people, all these things involved. They are intertwined. All of them go together. Nobody knows. Why the government could not make it public? This is what we're paying to reach out to these people. We're getting them 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, they got a check. No. People just seeing the money, just see bulldozer breaking down homes. Then you have a curfew in place, 3 o'clock. How can these people be moved? The disease, talk about that, the movement of people to curtail the disease. Now, all the people will be going to communicate that nobody knows what they got. See the trouble in Nigeria. But I just want to really on that note that corruption is not just persevere. Then 1847, corruption has been with us. And we are not doing anything. We're not making effort to fight it. The World Bank will throw money at us. They are the World Bank, they are the most corrupt institution. China, China is one of the most corrupt institutions. Because why people want to China? China don't care whether the government is corrupt, whether the government is oppressive. What they can get, what they can get from the leaders, they will put that money on them. They will get that money to the country. Because when the people leave, tomorrow China will come back and say, you gotta owe me, your country gotta pay. But our people don't look at these things. They say, oh, we'll go to China. Oh, China is giving all the money. No. The money is not free. If you go to Zambia, Zambia, Kenya, see what the Chinese are doing there. Go to Jamaica, see what the Chinese are doing there. But these governments owe the Chinese government. China don't waive debt. But people in Liberia, in Africa, they don't see these things as being a problem. They don't see it. They see it as kind of gesture by China, by the World Bank, by the IMF. No, these institutions are corrupt. They are the ones who are fomenting the corruption in Africa because they're now holding the African leader to high standard. They come and put one, they say, oh, we put this rule down, and when you abide by it, then we give you this money. When they know that they are not even abide by what they put down on paper. But they come and say, okay, yeah, we see you have done something, you have made some progress, so we'll give you this amount. How much are giving you? They can give 25 million, $1 million. Something that cannot run, they will give for 3 months, they give it to you. Then you sign it, you make it peanut. Oh, we just signed another $150 million loan. These are peanuts they're giving you. But you tell me all men that are still some of them getting that your government is making progress. So, Mr. let me just leave it on this note. Time fast spent, but these are the issues we continue to speak in. The depth, the way Liberia, especially the free thing that Liberian people used to. They got to get away from this thing. Government must now start putting policies in place. Everybody that own a house in Liberia must pay something. If you want to introduce sales tax, tell it all, let people pay. Goes to bar, if I want some people to pay, let it pay it. And tell them away that the Lebanese people, the business people, will not cheat government from that revenue that they collect. If it's a quarterly report, they should do it. Why this system report cannot put in place? Then everything must be government. Or the government will do the one. The government will do the one. And people go and tell, oh yeah, the government is doing right. But you're not contributing. Because you're not contributing, so you cannot hold the government responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And they steal all the resources from honor you. Because you don't have this time to ask the government. Because you feel that it is what you paying. Why you want to ask them how much money you pay? What is actually paying? But why the government cannot institute it? Because they want to control the people. In certain elements feel that once they do so, they will take advantage of the poor people. And this is the same thing that told them on the ground. The majority is the majority again being ostracized, being sidelined by their own people. Where you got 10%, the 90% are sidelined by their own people. This is the same thing that caused all of them today. They are under the ground. Well, 2%, 5% of the people controlling the entire work of the country, and you see them in your eyes what they never had. They're accumulating all these things. Where is the money coming from? If our thing called Mr. Toad, I live in one thing, thing around her, I live in one room. I got a job. The job paid me $500. But then how can I leave from that one room in 6 months down the road, live in a house that cost $150,000? Where do I got where that money came from? If I'm making $1,000, how can I afford in 6 months, 1 year to buy a house that costs $150,000? But nobody asked the question. What they do, the chairman, the president, oh, that guy, my man, the man is enjoying now, the man is this and that, the man is smart. How can you be smart when you are depriving your brother and sister? You're stealing from them, then they say you're smart, that's not being smart. When you're smart, you should be able to create employment. Education means for these people to enable themselves to become independent. But when you steal from them, they say you're smart. Is that what God smart? That when you deprive a whole lot of people from the benefit they should have gotten, and you immediately enjoying it, they say you're smart. I don't really do a definition of smart in Liberia because these are the people who say they are smart. When people steal from the government, allegedly steal from the government, they say, oh, the man is smart. But how can a smart person behave like that? To cheat other people? They say you're smart? These are criminals. But Liberia, they say, oh, the man is smart because you were able to do government. You were able to do this corporation. These are the people, that's the definition of someone being smart in Liberia. I actually one guy said, what do you mean by someone is smart? By stealing from government, say the man is smart. Do you know that man harming you? The hospital, the road, the water, the light, that money he had taken, all those should have gone into those areas to benefit you. But now you tell me the man is smart. I say, is that definition of smartness? But these are the people they cherish. So the people know how to play on these people. But so I just want to leave it there. It's something that maybe our generation will not see any.
Right.
Because it's an old age problem, and the younger people are helping to ferment this corruption in Liberia. Many of the young people join the same way when they say, oh, but what do you want me to do? The man is doing it, so what do you want me to do? Man.
Okay.
Is that the way you will change the country? What do you want me to do? Send the man doing it, so I will do it too. Young people in Liberia. This is why he said, Mr. Toad, all the young children fight to get to government. They want government power. Because they believe that's where they can get rich quicker.
All right.
That's
Okay.
it. Thank you, Mr. Toad.
All right, Mr. George, thank you very much. But I ask you to please, if you can do me a favor, if you have the time, Google the trial of Henry formula, part 1 all the way to part, I believe, 5.
Okay.
4, I'm sorry, 4. So we're going to go through it, and we'll do it section by section. So that I'm going to start Friday, so that perhaps you'll be able to help me to put some stuff in it, give us some context as we go through it.
Okay, I will go there and try to get some note, get some note, and so we can go into it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay,
All right.
okay, sir.
Again, folks, Sam Central LIBERIA Public Radio. That's the voice of Mr. Amos George, who able to wrap it up here for us tonight. I want to thank all of you. Stay tuned. Mr. So will be on. Mr. So has a very new, brand new equipment. He's shining. I'm jealous of him. He's shining there. I don't know what kind of business that. Then Natano will want to fire me every day. Myself, I tired too now. I come in. I was so far. Should I say LPR in? Oh, somebody call him. Sam Central LIBERIA Public Radio. What's your name? What are you calling your mind? And what are you calling from?
My name is Benson Mason. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
Thank you for joining us. You'll be the last caller. Go ahead.
All right. So I really didn't follow the food thing today, but I just have a gist of it, looking at your food. And I think the dwelling topic is about how can we move our country forward.
As usual.
People crying for corruption. And like the previous speaker said, our problem is that we are not educating our people to know that they are being defrauded when somebody takes money. So long a man steals money in Liberia and invests it in Liberia, people think that that man is a lord or a god by himself. Think he has done the best. And we keep saying to people, he has not done anything but has taken your money, enriched himself, and laid on top of you like king. He's not a good person. But we have always in our country hailed corrupt people, corrupt leaders. We always hailed them as being people who are good, people who will move who are better for our country. But then when you look at it technically, it's only the beneficiaries that really hail such a person. If Samson Toe is the president or he's the managing director, and Samson Toe is investing the corporation money, well, I'm Samson Toe special assistant, and I get to benefit from the investment, Samson Toe would be the best general manager ever. I would defend him to the bitter end, even though I know he is misappropriating, he's mismanaging, but I would defend him to the bitter end. Why? Because I'm benefiting. And they will not stop with me. Those who are associated with me, who are benefiting indirectly from that, will also protect me for something too. And this is the problem in our country. And I continue to say, and I will say it. 1980, when the coup took place, one of the cardinal fights was against corruption. That was one of the major things people said they were fighting against, corruption. But 40 years later, we still fighting corruption. 40 years later, we are still more corrupt than when we started fighting. So I keep asking people, when will the struggle for the people really start? Our people need to wake up. And again, we need to educate our people. But I will not lie to you, our problem in Liberia is education. The Western world that we all live in, is one of the things that got the American democracy strong, is the education system. They train you in school, they talk about government, and the basic idea is how to obey government. That's the basic idea. what government is all about, how to obey government, how to keep the government going, what are the responsibilities of government. When the children come through 6th grade, they will start telling you what they expect of the government. You will know what their responsibility is to the government. Our country, we don't even teach our people government. We don't teach our people what democracy is all about. Look, people say African democracy cannot work, and I tell people, yes, it cannot work because we are not there to teach our people the truth. We don't teach our people the truth, and I agree with the brother I just spoke. If taxes is levied, let it be levied against everybody, and let everybody make a contribution. But when you say nobody making contribution, then you're holding the government for things that you want. The government cannot meet those things that you need. The government got to go to foreign countries and foreign places to get money. The government get heavily indebted. The government taking the individual in the government taking half of the money. People are not getting much, and then we sit down back and say the government. Let us make our own contribution by paying our taxes that we have to pay for our properties that we got, for our businesses, for the things that we buy. Yeah, my brother, I'll be honest with you. In America, you know, everything you buy has a sales tax on it. When you buy soap, you get sales tax on it. You buy rice, sales tax on it. That 8%, 0.8% sales tax is on it. You have to pay it. If you don't pay it, you're in trouble.
Right.
But you see, we don't want to pay taxes in Nigeria. We want to live free of the government. And that is because the people do not know how the government functions. People do not know. 90% of the Nigerians, and that includes even the so-called people who claim to be educated, they do not know how government functions. They do not know the necessity and the importance of the taxes. They do not know that. They do not know that. Everybody wanting free from the government. Everybody. Then they sit down and say the government is corrupt. Yes, the government corrupt. That one is true. The people in the government corrupt. Yes, that's true. But what are you doing to make the people stand up and say, look, this is what it is? My brother, we all sitting down talking. I can tell you today how much the American president makes because it's a public information. Nobody can tell you how much the Nigerian president makes because it's secrecy. Nobody can tell you how much the minister of any of the ministry makes. It's secrecy. These are public officials, public offices. Why should the salary be secret? Why should the salary be secret? If these things are transparent, if they are clear, say for Darren Taylor announcing the senators and the senator salary, nobody would have known how much the senator making. Again, it was another big secret. So everything in that bill is secrecy. Today I can tell you, all I got to do is to just look it up and say, hey, this the secretary for the State Department makes this amount of money. The secretary, the chief justice of the United States or Supreme Court makes this amount of money. It's all public knowledge. But now Nigeria, when you ask a secrecy, and why is it secrecy? Because the people must be corrupt, and we encourage them to be corrupt. We, the citizens, we encourage the poor to be corrupt. We push and beg the poor, please be corrupt, please steal our money, as the stealer will heal you. As the stealer money will heal you. Yes. Look, I'll tell you too another thing. Allegedly we say Benin and US stole money from America. But people say, oh, the man made his investment right in that bureau. So people hear him for stealing. They support on hearing, yeah, but the man stole the money, but he get his money right in that bureau. In other people who stole the money and they took it out of the country. What a difference. The money he invested in Liberia, is it for the Liberian government? No. Is it for the Liberian people? No. That's his business, personal private business. He takes the government money and uses private business. Just looking at that, I mean, that's kind of the thing you look at people. That's the way our people think. So why do they think like that? Because our education system and the number of people that are not educated to think for themselves are the people that we got, like the people we got to be continuing with. Our country, it will take a good while, but the only way we will move forward, our country will move forward, except we revolutionize our educational system, and that is from the primary, the kindergarten. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the university. I'm talking about the kindergarten. I'll give you another scenario before I leave you.
Okay.
President Weah took over. He said, and the student university were announcing that education is important and they need a school fees should not be raised. The school fees, so they didn't come on to pay school fees, so they need a free education. These are people who are thinking, but they need a school fees and the school fees shouldn't be raised. President Weah went and said, okay, you guys got free education. All of them got a job here, right? Yeah. But the question is, if the university is free and the secondary and primary schools are not free, how do you get to the top when you haven't cleaned the bottom? When you fill the bottom, did they clean on it? No. This is how selfish we are. We think about me as an individual, not the people who should be. The only way, and I'll call on President Weah every day, trash all that university free education and carry the free education to the primary and primary and secondary schools. Build schools all around Liberia, starting with the primary. All the elementary schools, build a lot of elementary schools, even in 2-3 villages, put them to fill up the elementary school for them. Build a lot of elementary school all day. When you finish with elementary school, go to the junior high. Then you go to high school. Let's educate the people. But the reason why nobody wants to educate the people is the simple reason. Because the people are vulnerable to be used. Because they do not know their values. They do not know the value of the ballots. They can be used by anybody. So that's why they say, look, yes, that's the reason they don't want to educate the people. That's the reason the people cannot get the kind of education that they really desire, they really need. They cannot get it because the politicians will continue to use our people just for their own selfish gain.
Okay.
Thank you for your platform. I'm waiting for us to discuss formula case. I've read it. I'm waiting for you. And then I'll be here waiting for you.
Okay. We'll jump on it Friday for sure.
Okay. Friday for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, brother. Thank you. Thank you for your platform.
Okay. Again, folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio, I want to thank all of you again, like tuning this evening. Friday is going to be a doozy. We're going to go with formula show, formula trial, that is, and we're going to enjoy it. It's very interesting the way the people were behaving those days. And maybe as we go, it was reported back in 1968. And let's see how far we are now in terms of Liberian behavior towards our leader and things like that. What have we done? Anything that has changed? Thank you very much. I'll say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Please stay safe out there. If the people say you need to go to work, that doesn't mean you should lay your guard down. This disease, they still have not found any kinds of cure for that yet. So don't lay your guard down. Wear your mask if you have to. Put on gloves if you have to. Be careful. Wash your hands 4, 5, 6 times a day. As many times as you can. Wash your hand with a lot of soap. If you touch any surface or anything like that, don't put your face, don't touch your face, not your eyes, not your nose, nothing. And just find the nearest bucket or anywhere, there's a bucket. Sink and wash your hand with soap, clean. And please take good care of yourself. We love all of you, and God loves you as well. So we'll continue to pray for one another. This is Samson Toll. I'll say good night to all of you. It's been a wonderful evening. Tune in Friday for formula trial, and we're going to start from there. This is Samson Toll. Good night, folks.
See wa mudeji wa abo fengware we koya mudeji o sida wa mudeji o sida wa mudeji o wanu kwaya kaina yando yeina o kaina yando yeina o kaina yando yeina o
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon bleu wege, Romi abi okewe. Mon bleu wege, Romi abi okewe. On est wo kaje, adwa kene sulu. Kagwana me wa mo. Kagwa izo mayo, Romi awa dongo.